Palpatine.
Hands
How
down.
did I know that you were going to
He
say
was the
that?
only high point of the prequels.
Yeah.
The man schemed
Yeah.
for like 50 years. And
Yeah, he did.
Like, it's impressive.
Yeah. I mean,
But
long
hubris
game.
was his downfall.
Yep. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
That and bad skincare. Did you see him at the end of that
Jeez.
50 years?
I mean,
Oh my gosh.
the dark
he was
side
horrible.
takes its toll. It's a trade-off.
Yeah.
I bet he's still like, given that power and surely money, I'm sure he did well with women still.
I'm sure he did. Just a little mind control. Woo.
I wouldn't date him.
They didn't care after that.
No, because you're a Hufflepuff.
Oh.
Wow.
This is the switch you're looking for.
Oh boy.
All right.
Look at that ash. Isn't that nice?
Nick, what about you? What's your favorite Star Wars character?
Oh.
Han.
Damn. How'd you know that?
I'm the
I was
Warlock.
gonna say Han Solo, man. Han Solo, man.
Why?
Because he's crazy. He's kind of like rebel, living life on the edge, kind of defiant of law enforcement and stuff like that.
Devil may care, sort of.
Yeah, flying by the seat of my pants kind of attitude, and hey, comes in the clutch all the time.
I mean, it worked for him. He went from being a lowly smuggler to marrying a princess. So
That he did. That he did.
I love you. I know.
There you go.
Dave?
sorry, that line was scripted to be like he was supposed to say, "I'll be back,"
Really?
and just like on the fly, he said, "I know," and George Lucas liked it so much that that's the cut he kept. But that is not how the scene was written.
Awesome. The best lines are like always improvised. Always.
Dave,
Almost
what
every
about you?
movie.
What's your favorite Star Wars character?
Yoda.
No, like seriously, after all the new
Mandalorian.
stuff that's come out, Ahsoka really is. Like her arc through the Clone Wars was just. I mean,
That's solid.
it's ended up so well. They've done so well with it, and like, well, I don't want to spoil anything, but just they brought Anakin back for Ahsoka, and just the duel that they had was just epic. I mean, they're just totally
I agree.
fan serving, and it's just about time,
The live action like Clone Wars flashbacks. Oh God,
right?
that was amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm with you there.
They're already talking about doing
Yeah.
the Clone Wars live action because it won over so
was
well.
good.
And I'm like, yes, feel awesome. Well, it was like everybody craps all over Hayden Christensen, but it
was-
wasn't.
I don't. I
It was
mean,
the dialogue
Jesus.
that he had to deal with.
Yeah,
He's a good actor.
But you see like since his work in Obi-Wan and his work in Ahsoka, and it's just like, oh, this is freaking awesome, and especially in Obi-Wan when he cut his mask open and it was crackling back and forth between his voice and Darth Vader's. You were like, oh my
And
god, I
even
got
though all
goosebumps. It was
you
so
only saw
crazy.
half of his face,
Face.
but the way like Obi-Wan's been out for a year, so I feel like it's not a spoiler.
No.
The
Yeah.
line, "You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker, I did," and like he just absolved Obi-Wan. Like that was such good acting. Sorry, I
Yeah, it
agree
was.
with you 100%.
It's awesome. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah.
So we're obviously a Star Wars fan, not.
Who's your favorite character?
Me?
Yeah,
Jar Jar Binks.
No.
it's something just milquetoast like Luke.
No. Luke should be avoided at all costs.
I agree. He's whiny.
Yes. Vader's my favorite. It's always been from the time I was a kid.
You were a kid.
Yes.
Vader,
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Very
Vader
far.
is definitely a complex, interesting character.
Yep. And to me, he was a great bad guy too.
Mhm.
I really.
He only choked the whiny people.
Or the incompetent people. Yeah.
That's true.
They started whining and making excuses.
He's like,
What was
shut up.
What was the commander's name? He was like, "You've just been promoted," after choking out his superior.
Yeah, he's just like, yeah, thanks.
Just that look of like it's a dubious honor is like, okay, thanks.
Oh my goodness.
So we're obviously a Star Wars group, not a Star Trek.
Oh, I love Star Trek just as much.
I didn't really follow Star Trek much.
Yeah,
Not
it's
even
More
all the-
Star Wars than Star Trek.
Not even all like the newer things that are out.
I watched the three movies that were out there with Chris Pine. Like I'm a Chris Pine fan. I watched those ones. Those were great. Great
thought they were
visuals,
great
great
Right.
visual effects, all that stuff. But like all like the shows and everything like that, no. I'd watch what was that one with Tim Allen and they kind of
Yeah.
Oh,
Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
I'd watch
That
that
was
before all the
amazing.
other ones. I mean, like
Yeah.
that was like awesome.
The only thing I can really tell you about Star Trek is that Lucille Ball saved it from being canceled, like the original show.
There you go.
Like if I had watched it, I may have a preference. I don't know, but I don't know enough about Star Trek to have
Yeah.
an opinion. But
It was like they're opposites right now. Like, in the beginning, Star Trek had all the TV series, and Star Wars was all the movies when everybody's waiting. And now it's the opposite.
No, I
Star Wars
disagree.
has like all the series, and
Nope.
Star Trek.
Why
has,
do
like,
you
a lot of
disagree?
Because there's new series out now, and it's
movies.
great.
They don't count.
I
They
have-
do count because it's all
They-
in the beginning. It's
come
great.
I have read though that like they have a different view of like government, and I don't mean to get into something deep here, but like
Uh-oh.
like there's this utopian like society, and
Well,
there's a trust
you have to
in
have
that.
a utopian society. See, that's the whole thing. Like, I
It's
feel like the
idealistic.
biggest misunderstood thing about Democrats is because the reason why
About
say
Democrats.
Democrats?
yeah, it's because I feel like they want everything they're trying to do is to be social, right?
There's an
you know,
idealism there.
There's an idealism, and they want a lot of socialist things like free healthcare for everyone. They want the government to pay for everything because it's that idea that there's enough in the world for everybody to have something and not be at the bottom. You know what? And they're right, but it's how we go about it. How do we get to that point? And those are the two. I feel like mindset in Star Trek series as well. There's an overabundance of everything. Technology is at the point now where you can replicate food just by speaking it, and it'll appear before you. So you don't need money anymore. So yeah, you would utopian. That's really the only thing that would really fit.
Whereas Star Wars is very distrustful of the Empire, and they're very different views on
It's like a space western.
yeah. Anyway,
That's what happens when the government has too much power.
So
Perfect example.
I'm gonna bring up one other nerdy thing.
What's that?
Anybody
Nerdy.
here?
I'm white and nerdy.
Is anybody here a Whovian?
Of what?
Yeah, Doctor Who.
Oh,
Here
Doctor
we
Who.
go.
Oh,
I'll go even nerdier.
let's go. Favorite Doctor.
Firefly.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
that's
on board for
really
that.
good.
I'm on board for that.
Yep.
I'm on board
All
for
right,
that.
so we are definitely a bunch of nerds.
Yep.
Okay, no wonder I fit in here.
So that's one also thing. This cigar makes for great
Sorry.
nerdy conversation.
Yes, it does.
Oh yes, cigar.
So I'm
Who's your favorite doctor?
Really,
You brought up the whole thing.
I love the 10th Doctor.
that's Tennant, right?
Yep, David Tennant.
He was great.
He was fantastic.
And I guess I haven't seen the news.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard he's coming back.
he can come back as much as he wants.
Yikes.
I bet.
You know that Benedict Cumberbatch passed that up because
Yes.
he didn't want to be famous.
Yes.
So he took that small little Sherlock Holmes show that wasn't going to amount to anything.
No, but
Which
that
it
was a
did.
great Sherlock.
No, it was
thought it
actually
was
my
good.
favorite
Okay.
iteration of
No.
Sherlock Holmes.
No.
I don't know,
No.
man. I mean, Robert
No.
Downey Jr. really
No,
nailed it.
No.
Yes. Anybody?
No.
So I hear that all the time from
Robert
the
Downey
old
Jr.
crowd. They're
nailed
like,
it.
"Oh, Robert Downey Jr. is a
Sorry.
clown. He's not Sherlock." And no
He did a
disrespect
damn
against
good
Basil
job, man.
Rathbone and Jeremy Brett, they
Yeah.
were good. But anybody who is honest with themselves, who has read the original canon, the original stories,
Robert Downey
there has
Jr.,
never
man.
been a better Sherlock Holmes.
Sorry, man.
Well, the Sherlock Holmes from Benedict was if it happened now, and I thought
Right.
that
I was going to
iteration
say that.
True.
Yes.
was perfect.
In a
And
Well,
I'm
then
not
they
putting
had-
down
In a
Robert
modern
Downey Jr.
setting,
My-
he works.
Well,
was
wait.
just
For modern
oh.
settings, you got that guy from Hackers. What was that guy's name? They did a show.
Elementary.
Elementary.
I haven't seen it.
No,
I mean-
Yes.
I mean, that show was really good too.
that was good.
Benedict Cumberbatch was.
I
Look,
like
I have
that.
nothing
I
against
liked it.
Cumberbatch, man,
Honestly,
but
my biggest complaint with the Sherlock series isn't Benedict Cumberbatch. Mark Gatiss should be arrested for what they did to Moriarty, who was supposed to be a mathematician, a genius, a professor, like cold and a Palpatine.
Yeah.
And they made him into like the Joker. And like I felt that was
A disservice.
yes.
A
Like
big disservice.
Moriarty's so much more than that.
I mean, Moriarty.
Jerry
Moriarty.
Harris from the
Remember-
Sherlock Holmes movies with Robert Downey Jr. Jerry
That
Harris
was-
nailed it.
Remember
was
Moriarty
awesome.
in Star Trek: The Next Generation? Remember that?
Yes.
Do you know?
one
I
in
do
there?
know this. A bit of trivia. It is implied in one of the original episodes. Spock says, "One of my ancestors said," and he's talking about one of his human ancestors said, "When you eliminate the impossible, what remains, no matter how unlikely, must be the truth." So that is a Sherlock Holmes quote. He is implying that one of his ancestors was Sherlock Holmes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very
Love it.
interesting.
Anyway,
What else we got in the docket, Danny?
Well, actually, it's about time for us to say what we want to say about the cigar.
What I want to say about the cigar
Yeah,
is,
because we need to move on to the pipe.
I mean,
Moving on.
I'll have
Moving
another.
on.
look, it's not.
Moving on past Yvonne.
What? Yeah, exactly.
yeah, like you're gonna come to work the next time Steve's in the office. He goes like, "That first half was supposed to be about the cigar, and you guys just talk about nerdy shit the whole time."
Star Wars, Star Trek, trivia, Sherlock Holmes, Doctor Who. Jeez. I mean, the cigar. I mean, Steve, you need to do a better job. This is disgusting. No, I'm just kidding. I mean,
Like
I
what?
mean, come on. I mean,
It
it's
tastes like loam.
tastes like loom. Tastes like loom, for Christ's sakes.
Tastes like loam.
But I mean,
Peppered
You're
come
like
on, man,
something
it's-
shuttling back and forth.
Yes,
smokes
it
that
tastes,
stuff?
it tastes like that all the
A
time.
complex, interwoven tapestry of flavor.
Bingo! I couldn't have said it
There
better
you go.
myself.
Always happy to help.
There you go, man. I mean, come on, man. What's there to say about this cigar?
You like it?
I mean, yeah. I
It's-
mean, come on. Everybody's been wanting it.
Got a lot of
Everybody
tobacco
loves
notes.
it. It has a lot of tobacco notes.
So
I
this
don't know
this
why.
probably sounds like blowing
It's
smoke.
been like 4 years. Dave.
Not
it's
just
time to
blowing
let
smoke.
it go.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no.
but this is probably gonna sound like I am blowing smoke because it's vague and it sounds like a contrivance. But I'm serious. It has complexity to make it interesting. What are you doing?
He's getting close. That's what he's
He's contriving.
doing.
How easily you were derailed.
I know. He couldn't even get through a 2-minute interview thing downstairs of the
Because
show.
Dan was talking through his navel while I was trying to. Anyway, the only
don't
thing could be
even
worse
need
if
to
he pulled an
speak.
Ace Ventura and like started talking out the other end.
Oh,
But-
that would have been hilarious.
No, like
Let me ask you a few questions.
Yeah. So
What did I miss?
you missed a lot, Yvonne. You could have been looked at to the event like 2 hours earlier, and you would have called a show. But anyway, it's got complexity and like it's interesting, and it's got a lot of flavor. And there's a lot going on
still
here,
learned it.
but it's not so complex and deep that you can't just like do what we've been doing is socializing and having fun
Yeah.
and not enjoy it. Like I have been thoroughly enjoying this and
Yeah.
getting that complexity and stuff, but it's not something that's so
That you have to concentrate on.
yeah.
Yeah.
And see, those are my favorite smokes that like I'm getting everything and I'm aware of everything and it's great.
Well,
But I'm
you're-
not having to sit there and study the damn thing. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
And so I mean it's
It's good.
to be fair, every Dunbarton cigar I've smoked is like that though. Like it's
Thank
thoroughly
you.
enjoyable, but it
But
doesn't
it's day lit.
yeah, like
yeah,
there's-
they do.
there is such a
Damn
thing
good.
as being overly complex.
Yeah.
And people talk about complexity like it is like the standard for either cigars or pipe tobacco. And I'm like,
Not really.
you need enough for it to be interesting and not monotone
Right.
or
Yeah.
monotonous, but like you need to be able to just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
to me, that's a mark of a good blend.
Mm.
Well, thank you.
Yay.
Danny, what do you think about this
Yeah. Loamy cigar.
Lomi cigar?
This is one of my favorites of his. I like everything Steve makes. You know, like take the Sober Mesa Brulees, for instance.
Mm.
If you want something smooth, creamy, light, a little sweet, it's an amazing cigar. The Querida Black, in this case, the PapaSaka here. This is like my wheelhouse. This is where I like to live. I like those dark, cocoa, earthy, you
Loamy.
know. No, I'm not
Loomy.
going to use the word
Bittery.
loam.
Lumi.
You know, those flavors really awaken my palate. It's what I really enjoy. And he's really done it in a great size.
It is. I like the size a lot.
People do not do, because like we talked about at the beginning of the show, you know, you're typically coming out with something. If you come out with a 50, you're already undersized.
Yeah.
You know, the new stuff is coming out 52, 54, 56.
Yeah.
That's really where it's at. And so to have something with this kind of flavor and this kind of consistency and this kind of enjoyment in something that's a 48 ring gauge,
Yeah.
I think is awesome.
Yeah.
And they're flying off. And my hope is that people start to see that and
Yes.
see that they don't need
60,
60,
65,
65,
70.
70, there's a place for the 100 ring gauge cigar. It's just not in my place. It's just not in my mouth.
Yeah, and so like I'm a Corona guy. My preferred Vitola is like in the Lonsdale range. And
The smoke output is amazing too.
oh, absolutely. And so like I completely agree with you to show that like you don't need a ridiculously thick gauge cigar to get satisfying flavor and like very like you talk about the smoke output, like the body of this is killer. So like yeah, maybe people will start to. I liken the thickened ring
I like
gauges.
in the thicken.
I like
I like
thicken
in
the
the
liking.
thicken.
the larger. I liken the larger
like
ring
in the
gauges
licken,
to
the
like what
licken.
happened a few years ago with like when IPAs became popular and people were trying to see how much hop they could pack into a IPA. And it's like this isn't even good anymore. Like it's a competition to see like
Yeah.
how hoppy you could make this beer. And like I feel like it's kind of like the race with the ring gauges.
Yeah.
And
I mean, there's a lot more companies that are coming out with 60 plus ring gauges, and they're using okay filler, and it's just like all right, and it's like all right, it's getting tired now. Just relax with all that stuff. But
I was really
it almost
happy
feels
with,
like a gimmick.
I was really happy with the Saka Khan, but this is where it's at.
Right.
Yep, absolutely.
Right.
I mean, nothing against the Saka Khan. I love
No.
that cigar. When it
Yeah,
came
it's
out,
great.
But when
smoked-
you don't want to take a 3-hour tour.
Right.
I
Exactly.
mean, what's wrong
You
with a
have to devote
3-hour
time.
tour?
And
Well, there's
Gilligan.
nothing wrong with it, but you got to be
It's
able
got
to
its time
devote
and its
time
place,
to it.
yeah.
Right. Right.
Places at
based,
work.
Based on what we're saying here, I got some disappointing news today on Facebook.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Mr. Saka, if you're listening, I'm very upset that this Sobremesa Cervantes Fino was discontinued.
Well, I'm going to say surprise because even for me, I don't always know what he's up to.
I think I probably found out before you did with the Facebook post.
Yeah, you might have. I mean, well, I'll be honest. Today was a busy day, and I did not even pop on Facebook. And I came in today, and you were like, Yvonne, what's going on here?
Because like 3 days ago, you're like, oh yeah, I love Sobremesa, and that's my favorite Vitola. And like I was sitting eating lunch today,
Thought I was going to.
and I saw that post from him, and I was like, why didn't Yvonne tell me? And then I saw later on a post from the national sales manager, Dave Laverty, who's like, yeah, you thought we were joking when
Yeah, no.
we find out at the same
It
time. I was
is-
like, oh, okay.
It is very true.
Ricky.
We often find things out by things Steve posts on Facebook.
He likes to keep you on your toes.
And I hopped on the computer and there was like new names and things were missing, and I'm like, whoa, what's happening here? And you know what? That it is very true.
Yep.
And like you could tell, couldn't you, by the look on my face when I walked? I'm like, what
Oh, yeah.
are you talking about?
Oh, I mean, he just likes to keep you guys agile and on your toes. Like it's a
It's a strategy.
yeah.
It's a strategy. He is truly.
It makes for shorter office meetings.
Yes. There's nothing else to
There's
talk about.
nothing to debate.
I
It's
can-
already out there.
I can
It
just hear you.
happens.
It's already on
confronting him.
half wheel. It's
I
already
can
in the
just hear
computer.
you confronting him when he comes back, and you go, or he goes, "Well, you found out, didn't you?"
Right.
Yeah.
No. Well, I am glad I found out, the way I did, because it's not good when the phone rings and I kind of like stutter a little, like, what?
There you go.
But
It's like
no,
you could just hear that exclamation, like Metal Gear Solid, like alert tone. Do you guys know? Like,
yeah. But I kid. Like I mean, if it's no longer a thing, it's because it wasn't the most popular Vitola. But I'll adjust.
It's, never say never.
It will
It is
probably be
going on
back.
technically hiatus. You never know.
It needed to
It
take
might-
a break.
It did.
That's what it needed
did.
to do. Needed
Makes
to
you
take a
Little
break.
appreciate
rest.
things though when they're not a given too.
That's true.
So I appreciate that too.
There you
I
go.
took it for granted.
You did.
That was my bad.
Until
See,
today.
never take anything for granted.
Nothing is guaranteed.
You hear that, Dan?
Yes, I don't take anything for granted,
You take me for granted.
especially your white pants.
You take me for granted.
Now, we're moving on to the pipe tobacco,
Yay.
which
Not
we just had
I don't even
a
want to put
pipe
this
show.
down.
We just had a
Too
pipe
bad.
show this past weekend featuring BriarWorks pipe tobacco.
Where's my pipe?
We're smoking one of
Where you left
those
I have mine.
pipe tobaccos tonight, and tonight is BriarWorks Bacon Old Fashioned.
Here we
You want to lift
go.
up the thing for the camera there? There it is, right there. Pig on the jar and everything. And this is one of the cool things about it. They actually come in little mason,
Mason
jars.
jars. That is cool.
So-
different. It's
Like a
different.
lot of guys like to quote unquote cellar their pipe tobacco. Much like if you're a cigar smoker and you're watching, much like people age their cigars, people like to age their pipe tobacco. That is a thing. It's becoming increasingly popular over the years. And most people, I'm probably getting too technical here, but a lot of pipe tobacco manufacturers pack their tobacco in vacuum sealed tins, so it's there's no oxygen there. And one is not better than the other, but because there's no oxygen or very little, the fermentation that is what everybody calls aging
Right.
is different. Whereas if it's packaged at atmospheric pressure, not vacuum sealed, but it is airtight, the fermentation's different from that. But the changes that you experience in a blend, while not the same as a vacuum pack, happen much more quickly.
Okay.
So 2 years in a atmospheric packaged tobacco versus 2 years in a vacuum sealed, the changes, while albeit different, are going to be much more dramatic in the
Okay.
atmospheric packaged tobacco. So a lot of guys, when they get a vacuum sealed tin of something, they transfer it to mason jars. So this, like, you don't have to worry about that. Like, if you want to smoke it now, great. If you don't, it's already packaged and ready to go, and you can just put it.
Yvonne's not liking this.
So, and
I'm like,
also, don't
I
mean
taste
to,
Yeah.
bacon.
don't
No,
mean
you
to,
don't. No, you do not taste bacon.
don't mean to
No, you
segue
do
here
not.
again, but the this tobacco
You
I think
don't.
is wonderful. And once you you go through your introduction, Dan, I'll elaborate further on how this blend came about. But it is something that, while I think it is a great blend, it is definitely one of those that people are either like all in a fan of, or they don't quite get it. And I think some of that is because they don't know the backstory. But I'll elaborate on that further.
All right. Well, from the website, since the one thing I will say about this tobacco, I don't say much negative about anything, but on the
We know.
there is no description of anything on the tin. It doesn't tell you what's in it. It doesn't tell you anything about tasting notes. It just says bacon old fashioned, made
not
in
all it
North
says.
Carolina.
South
know,
Carolina. It's not
South
made in North
Carolina.
Carolina.
Yeah, but they're in North Carolina.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are.
They're in Tennessee.
No? Oh, that's right. Look.
Columbia, just outside of Nashville. Sorry, if you're watching Pete, don't pay any attention to him. Pete
Yeah,
Rivos.
my father-in-law's dying. Yeah, so my
Wow.
Oh my
my-
gosh.
Wow.
my brain isn't in this one.
Dan, go to your room.
No. No. But since there's no description on the label, if you go to the Laudisi website, it says bourbon, citrus, and smoky dark-fired Kentucky make this perfect for sipping. Flavors of oranges, smoked bacon, and a slight booziness combined for an aromatic experience unlike any you've ever witnessed.
Well, they're right about that.
Most of that I agree with.
I definitely have never witnessed anything like this. This is kind of
So
weird.
tell us what's in this.
Most of
Because
that
even
I,
that description doesn't really tell you much other than
I
dark
agree.
fired.
I agree, and this is probably not me being a good company man. The one thing I disagree with that description on is the word aromatic. Yeah, it's got flavorings added, But when you hear aromatic, it conjures visions of like Lane 1Q or Autumn Evening, or I mean, these are all great tobaccos.
Well-
It, by no means am I disparaging, but the guy who smokes 1Q may not particularly enjoy this.
Nope.
Like it's more of a
Definitely
natural
not going to
smoke.
enjoy this.
It's more of a natural smoke. Yes, there are some flavor elements there that are present that aren't coming from tobacco, but this is not what I would call an aromatic. But we'll put that aside. So the story behind this tobacco, it's not exclusive
It's a
to
sad story.
it's not exclusive, and I don't know which bar it is. It's not exclusive to the bar that Pete Prevost, who manages and runs BriarWorks. He's an artisan carver, and I mean, a lot of the guys who work at the factory are, and they make like quality factory pipes in the U.S. that haven't been seen in decades. But
They make great.
it's something that bars around the country do, especially if they're like a craft cocktail bar. But he had a cocktail at a bar in Nashville, and it was a bacon old fashioned. And if anybody who's had an old fashioned, you know the flavor profiles. But what was unique about this is the bourbon used in the old fashioned was it went through what is called a fat wash. So basically, bacon's fried up, the fat drippings are collected, added to the bottle of bourbon, like a full bottle, corked back up, and allowed to rest for a period of time. Whether it's a day, usually that's all it takes. And then after that rest, it is then strained out because being in the bourbon, the fat solidifies. So you're not talking about any grease or weird texture. But what happens is it infuses that bourbon with the bacon flavor. So you've got this like true bourbon with this like really enticing bacon note. And then the old fashioned is made with it. And he liked it so much when it came time for him to for them to discuss the pipe tobacco blends they wanted associated with their pipes and part of their brand. And they were dealing with the head blender of Cornell and Deal, Jeremy Reeves, who's been on the podcast a number of times.
Yep.
They wanted, I mean, he loved this drink. He's like, you know what? I want at least one of our aromatic offerings to reflect this drink. And I've had bacon old fashions long before, like I've had this tobacco. I love them personally, but so Jeremy set to work, and being the like mad tobacco scientist he is, nailed it. Like this is a drink that I had a few times before joining the Laudisi family and smoking this tobacco, and it's like, wow, this is really good, and is reflective of the cocktail that its namesake is. So it is a blend of Virginia's, Darkfire Kentucky, just a little bit of burley, which for you pipe tobacco connoisseurs out there, you know that it's really there to help carry the flavor, and a little bit of unsweetened, unflavored Black Cavendish for body, and to which is added bourbon, bitters, and a slight orange flavoring, all the elements that you get from an old fashioned.
That's the zest you get in there.
Yeah.
For sure.
And Jeremy nailed it. I mean, there's not much to say beyond that.
I mean, he did. I mean, what you just described, I mean, he definitely did. I mean, you kind of get all those in one. I just can't get past that. There's like a heavy citrus aromatic note in there that my brain can't, like, be like, okay, it's okay, it'll be good, it's fine, it's normal what you're smelling and tasting. It's like freaking out, and it's like, what is this? And it's very, very different from.
different.
Obviously, I'm a big English guy. I love my English tobaccos, and I just, for this was just completely a hard left turn, and I'm like, okay, this is totally different from what I smoked, and it's
And I
very
think that's
weird.
why the guys who don't get it,
Yeah,
like, not saying you're one of them, but like there are guys out there who just that they don't understand this blend, and it's because it really defies
Everything.
the conventional definition.
Oh yes, it does.
Yeah.
It's not an aromatic. It's not an English. It's not a Virginia. It's not a Kentucky.
no, anything.
It's unique,
It's unique. Yeah.
and you've got a lot of interesting flavors playing here, and so you've got that where it doesn't fit into a box, but also if you've never had a bacon old fashioned, you don't have a point of reference for the flavor.
Right.
But that citrusy note, I'm curious what aspect of it that is so prevalent for you, if it's coming from those bitters and the orange element, or if it's coming from the Virginias or a combination of both, because Virginias in general have a very citrusy element. And I've said it before on the podcast. I think I said it the last time I was on with Jeremy. Red Virginias, especially the grades that Cornell and Dill uses, and if you've ever had Cornell and Dill's small batch Carolina Red Flake, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. They have a citrus flavor, but not like lemon or orange. Like I liken it to orange peel, like that slightly bitter but really like refreshing element. And I think that's completely appropriate because what's used in an old fashioned
Is just that.
is orange peel.
I mean, that's kind of like it's a citrusy, peppery type of zest that you're getting from the tobacco. And I mean, of course, with the drink, I had this with no drink, and I was just really taken back because, again, excuse me, it was the first experience with this, and I was really like, my brain didn't know how to process the tobacco, and I'm like, okay, it's not, I can't really taste the Virginias. If there's anything else in there, it's like, what am I smoking? It was just weird, to say the least. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, at first I didn't like it. Like right now, I'm like coming around to it.
After the explanation, but-
Well, yeah,
And that's another thing. Like, there is no other blend that it comes close to being comparable to this. Like, if somebody came up to me, and I mean, not being any sort of like egotistical or anything like that. Like, I've been a pipe smoker for 10 years now, and I understand there are guys who have been smoking for several decades longer than I have. But my first 2 years as a pipe smoker, I basically, in a gluttonous fashion, tried everything. Everything I could get my hands on. I was making tobacco orders and purchases literally every 2 weeks, and it wasn't just one blend at a time. Like I probably spent an embarrassing amount of my paychecks on pipe tobacco when I was new because I wanted
You wanted to
to
taste it.
try everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And any guy who's like into bourbons or wine or anything, like, gets what
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But so I feel like also I got my start blending and working in Cornell and Deal. So like that, those are my credentials. There is not a blend that even comes close, like a point of reference. Like if somebody walked up to me and like pointed, it's like, what's that similar to?
How you
Literally
even explain
nothing.
That?
Literally
I mean,
nothing.
how do you sell something like that when you're
It's wholly unique.
when you're
So
feet
after-
to the fire and somebody's asking you to be like, okay, well, I like some Virginias, I like some Burleys, and this and that, and it's like, how do you even approach that to be like, oh, I think you'll like this because it has this and this in it, and it's like, how is somebody even gonna pinpoint because it's so complex and there's
You have
just
to,
so
like-
much going on with it.
Really like the person or really hate the person to offer this to them.
So
I don't know if I'd go that far, but
So my first impression of this tobacco was like, you remember the scene in Star Wars, first one,
always a Star Wars reference.
So are you talking about episode 1 or episode 4?
episode 4.
Okay.
And when they were all stuck in the trash compactor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I felt like I was smoking.
A trash
Was
compactor?
was the ambiance of that room, and then but and I was completely biased to it, but the and then until the end of my bowl, and it completely changed, and I got like this dark, peppered salt, and I was like, wow, I'm like that kind of like I can get bacon out of that, because I was really fixated on trying to find bacon out of it, but then. Sitting here with you and you describing the old fashioned and me trying to reflect on it, I could totally get that. But it's like now I have to like unbias my brain because now I know like I'm drinking this and I'm just like they're similar. Like there's it's very similar and I'm like, but I feel like if what I was tasting was like an aromatic smell, it would smell like trash.
Okay.
I don't know.
So-
but I'm being honest.
So I'm interpreting here.
So
Tell
it's
me if I'm wrong.
like this dank, fruity citrus that's with like bitters, because you know what I mean. And that's
So-
kind of like
Two things. Like, I'm interpreting what you're saying. Tell me if I'm wrong here. But it's how people describe a lot of like really what non-enjoyers of this would call like bougie, but like upper tier like cheeses like Roquefort and things like that. Like they typically are described in more unappetizing terms, but they're really good.
It's true.
And so, like, I get, is that a bad interpretation there, or is
No,
that,
but what I'm trying to get at is my first impression versus the impression I have after how you described it. Because after you described it, I'm like I can totally get it being with like an old fashioned, like the orange zest, like everything, all those things you described put together make more sense than my first impression did, and I'm not put off by it anymore
because you have a point of reference.
because I have a point of
And
reference.
I think that's how a lot of guys who don't get it, like, they don't have the point of reference. So I also infer from what you said that, like, you've never had a bacon old fashioned.
No.
So the bacon element of it, when you first start drinking it, it's not the primary flavor. It's just like an addition to an old fashioned. It's kind of subtle, but as you drink, you start to pick up on more of that. And I don't know if I'm disclosing something I shouldn't here, but like I described the flavors added, like all of those bacony notes are coming from the dark fired Kentucky, which
Interesting.
is that tobacco is smoked on the same hard woods that a lot of bacon is smoked on. So like that is the brilliance of Jeremy's blending prowess. Is like, I mean, where do you get bacon flavor? You know what I mean? That sort of thing. Like, so he had to come up with a way to conjure that on the palate, and the proportions and the balance of the overall blend, he was able to achieve that from the smoke, from the hardwoods that are applied to this particular varietal. And it's very well done, I think.
I mean, Jeremy is a mad scientist, so
He
I
is.
mean,
And he has a
Jesus.
long, like, culinary background. So,
Oh,
like,
no
he's
shit.
got the palate to be able to achieve that.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that. Interesting.
Yvonne, you've been very quiet.
What do you think, Yvonne? You said bacon in the beginning, and I
But you know
kind of
what?
laughed at you a little bit.
You did, but it's truthfully that was more what I smelled.
Yeah.
That when I first lit it up.
Right.
But I definitely don't taste it.
Well, what do you taste right now?
I
Tell us what you
I get
taste.
all the bitters.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and that citrus note
Right,
and
yes,
stuff like that.
that's
Well,
That
see, that's
comes
what it is.
through.
It's like something
That-
totally bitter, but then you have like orange peel.
Yeah,
Right.
Like
or-
an old
By
fashioned.
itself is kind of like
But I mean, I think that's the whole problem is that people get this thinking, oh, this is going to taste like bacon.
and it's,
It's
not,
not.
It really
It's
doesn't.
not
It's subtle.
bacon flavored tobacco.
And honestly-
it's a bacon old fashioned,
which would be
Bacon
interesting
old-
if we were
a
smoking
drink.
it.
which is
A
something
bacon old
completely
fashioned, a
different.
lot of that bacon flavor, because it's just an infusion in the bourbon. You're not getting like, it's not like one of those like, I'm a Bloody Mary fan, but I think it's ridiculous how much they cram in it as garnish. It's not like you're getting a drink with like 4 pieces of bacon sticking out of it.
Right.
It is a subtle infusion, and a lot of the bacon flavor you're getting, because like sense of smell and taste are interlocked, that olfactory, sense. A lot of the bacon you get when you drink an old fashioned is just from the aroma when you're sipping, because like it's this. Jeremy nailed it. It's the same mechanism with the tobacco.
Jeremy always nails it.
He does. He doesn't. He doesn't release anything until he is 100% happy with it.
Love you, Jeremy.
Love you. Totes.
Oh goodness.
Jeremy's my boy. Stay away from him, Yvonne.
Hey, share.
Oh wow.
oh
We'll talk about that later.
well, that was one hell of a light bulb over your head.
Jeremy, I don't want you talking to Yvonne ever.
So, like we hinted at a little bit ago, we had this big pipe event this weekend, Pipetoberfest. You were here for the first time in a long time. Do you want to talk about
Yeah,
that?
for since like a year, almost 2 years
2
that
years.
that I've been gone for, because it used to be just me and Danny on Saturdays,
Yep.
just doing pipe club, and that was the first time doing it, and I seen a lot of those guys I haven't seen in a while, and it was fun being in that atmosphere again, and going back and forth with Kaz and going back and forth with you, and bringing people to the table and talking to people about pipes and pipe tobacco, and kind of getting that groove on again. And it was for me, it was really fun. It was really, for me, it was really reminiscent of the old days when we had like 5 people at a table, and we had to like pull people from the walk-in to come out and
There were a
look at
lot
the
of
pipes.
people.
Oh yeah, we had what, like 20 people
You had to
downstairs.
go
Right.
get more chairs, didn't you?
I had to get
Several
3 more
times.
chairs.
And so, like, I mean, that reminds me, and it hadn't occurred to me until you just said that. The first time I met you was my first visit up here
Yeah.
for a pipe event. That was March 2021, and you were there at the December event.
Yeah.
And I think that was the last event I saw you was December 2021, or
Yep.
last time I saw you at an event.
Yes.
And so this was the first event you and I worked together.
Yeah.
And yeah,
It was fun, man. I mean, just talking, and then Father John came with that bomb. I mean, that bomb. And when I say bomb, it was that tobacco that he brought was
Paredes
LJ
Thanksgiving
Paredes,
Day.
the Thanksgiving Day. Oh man,
And
I
never got what year that was because that's something they release once a year. I don't know if it was last year's or the year before.
I don't know.
But
I don't know.
'cause they haven't
but,
released this year's yet.
man, I mean,
That is
that had to be
premium.
last year's then. I mean, he brought that in, and it was just like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That was like he
He's a
made
very
the
generous
yeah.
guy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he made the announcement and he said the name of the tobacco.
And then he got mobbed.
And then but before he got mobbed, I mean, you could have dropped a fucking pin in that retail area, and you could have heard it fall.
Mhm.
I mean, he had everybody's attention when he said that. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
that was big.
Speaking of tobacco, Paredes, and then like bacon, pork, like that is kind of like the tobacco world's like McRib. Like it's only available that time of year. It's far nicer, but
Far
yeah.
nicer.
So like I actually visited Paredes today, and like he was pressing this year's edition. So like,
You showed me the videos,
Really?
man.
Yeah.
Those were
demand's
outrageous.
gotten so high that like it's released on November 1st. It's a limited thing. He's been pressing since August.
That is one of the one that I
That sounds depressing.
experienced.
Oh, the one that I sent. I've got
Yes.
some. I'll give you.
Oh, it was so good. Oh my gosh.
Under pressure.
Anyway, yeah, like so.
Sorry.
Yeah, like it was a fun experience. We had the event. Apart from how Dan disrespected me with how he promoted the event.
That was interesting.
Hold it. What did I miss?
Did I not show you that photo?
Oh no, you did. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so I was here last was that December or March?
That
was
that
March.
picture was March.
It
Yep,
was March. It was March because that was when we did the PE blinders.
Mm-hmm.
We were having drinks in the lounge,
Mm-hmm.
and we ordered in food.
Mm-hmm.
And unbeknownst to me, he snapped a photo of me mid-bite. And, I knew he had taken it. He put it on his story, tagged me. It's all good fun. I don't take myself too seriously. And I thought that was the end of it. I actually screenshotted his Instagram story with it, like I'm a
Open
good
up and let
sport.
the plane come in.
Yeah.
and
And it comes time for this event, and he sends me a photo of well done graphics, like how he normally promotes the events on social media and on the television screens in the lounge and downstairs. But it is with that photo of me mid-bite. It's awful. It is awful. And he sent it to me, and I seriously thought he was joking. I thought he was screwing with me.
Nope.
And then about a week later, I don't think has Bobby ever been on the podcast?
She has
No.
not.
Okay, so you guys have not been introduced to the absolute delight that is Bobby. But
She's
Bo-
great.
yeah, Bobby sent me a photo of the television screen behind the point of sale downstairs, and the marketing piece that he had made that I thought he sent me as a joke is there
Was not a
bold as
joke.
brass in front of all the customers. And
Every
forgive me,
day.
censor this if you have to. But I literally responded, "That son of a bitch."
Yep.
And so, I didn't say anything as I don't want to be that guy.
Yep.
That looks like he takes himself too seriously. But I was just like, the disrespect. Just wow, all I've done for him.
My goodness.
And then I thought, okay, maybe this is
it
a
was
joke.
perfect marketing.
I show up. And there it is in the lounge, a packed lounge, and there's my face, just shoveling food into it, or seemingly shoveling food into it. So that is how the event was promoted.
Well, I also saw what you ate last night for dinner. So
Last night?
night before. Sorry, Saturday night.
What
when
did
we
I-
ordered out.
Yeah, I forget what. Oh, I got a calzone that time.
Well, you were kind of shoveling that night too.
I mean, I'm a foodie. I have no shame. I have no shame.
Oh
But-
boy.
Oh, you're showing it. Yeah. Yeah. He is.
Finish it.
I
Viewers,
can't
do you
see
not
it. It's a
agree
little
he is
behind.
a terrible person?
Yeah, they can probably see it now.
Terrible person.
Yep. Right there.
Yeah. Just.
What are we doing?
And yeah, they have it on screen.
But also
Nope, they
understand.
can't see it because of the umbrella.
Understand
You're
that
you're showing
Bobby
them this.
Bobby gave me ammunition to use against you.
could
and
just send it to me, Dan.
I'm just waiting on it.
Email it to me.
I'm just waiting on it because I've got.
Waiting on what?
Because what Bobby sent to me. I've got some. I've got some
really?
good stuff. yeah.
Really?
Here, I'll go ahead and show it.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway,
Well, email me.
the event was great. So I represent Peterson and Savinelli pipes. If you guys haven't seen an earlier episode, shame on you if you haven't. And of course, since we manufacture and distribute BriarWorks pipe tobacco, but not their pipes, we partnered with them for this event to do something special for Oktoberfest, and I did bring some BriarWorks pipes. So it was this whole. It was a fun event, and there was a good turnout. I don't think that stinks in any way to Dan's betrayal of our friendship.
Damn, I'm out.
But
It
Yeah, me
speaks
too.
In total.
so I don't know. Tell me if this shows up
Are
well,
you really?
Dave.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Dave, show me. Tell me if
out.
this shows up well. But like,
Oh no,
Probably not.
so like,
no,
yeah,
no. You can't. They can't.
you can't. Well, anyway,
Send it.
You gotta email it to the man.
here I'll do that now, or I'll do it at some point. But anyway, Bobby had my back there. But yeah, it was a great event. We had BriarWorks pipe tobacco. We had Savinelli and Peterson pipes, and actually a strong selection. We had a lot of limited editions, like the Peterson Christmas pipes, Halloween pipes, the Savinelli Anticas.
The autographs.
Yeah, we had some strong autograph selections.
That
And
that
one-
number 6 was calling my name.
That number 6, yeah.
Oh.
That was brought for a particular person who I thought was a friend who didn't show up, Amy,
Oh.
Why was she not here?
because she's not as good as a friend as I thought.
Oh damn!
Oh.
Throwing shade at Amy, Tyler. How dare you, sir?
I know.
Who?
They, Amy and Tyler,
Oh,
I mean, I'm not gonna fault Tyler for Amy's betrayal.
they are angels. How dare you, sir? How dare you? It's blasphemy.
I mean, it was blasphemy for them to just not show up.
God damn it!
Yeah, there was a great selection there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I dropped.
Some money.
Yeah.
All right, it's on the way, Dave. Thank you.
let's see who comes first.
That's what
I
she
got
said.
that pretty blue one.
All right, Dave, I send it to you.
That's what she said.
Oh yeah.
Yep. It's very Kaz.
It's very Kaz.
What do you do? when
The
you
fact that you had to say
throw in a
that is
little bit of
evidence that it's
Kaz
not.
Walters?
I am a sophisticated, to use Yvonne's word,
Sophisticated.
sophisticated warlock.
Sophisticated.
I'm very choosies on choosy.
Choose these.
I'm very choosy.
I'm very sophisticated
I'm,
with my choosiness.
I'm very choosy.
Look at
on-
my stripes, and you know that you're dealing with something fierce.
I'm very
Is it bad
choosy
that I
on the
need another
virgins I
drink?
sacrifice under the full moon.
I've done my drink and my bowl, so we're at the
Don't
same
talk
level.
about
We
your bowl,
are.
please. Don't. That's not good.
What?
bowls done. Finished it, and the drink.
And the drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
Did you get bacon at the bottom?
No, I did not get.
Are
Bacon.
the drink? These aren't bacon old fashions. They're
No,
smoked old
I'm
fashions.
talking about. He's finished with the
I'm
bowl.
Finished my bowl.
Oh,
No, I
I
did
didn't.
not.
It
I
was
did not
good.
get any bacon. Just that like citrusy bitter. Like if you're having an old fashioned. I mean, look now with the drink, I enjoy it a lot better than when I first tried it.
Because
I mean,
it kind of goes along with it.
it
you
does.
Pick up,
It
you
does.
pick up those flavors.
it does. Like, I don't know if I would go approach this again.
so Nick.
But
So I understand why it's not practical, especially if a bar has no
Bacon.
kitchen or anything like that.
right.
But next time I come up,
Yes.
Maybe like if you guys cook bacon, save the drippings in a jar, and like maybe when I'm up here in December, we can make some bacon old fashions,
Okay.
and you can see like the bacon is far more like subtle, and it's more about like the aroma you're getting.
Okay.
Like the bacon element in this
Yeah.
is comparable to that drink. You're not going to be drinking something that makes you go, bacon. It's an old fashioned.
Yeah.
And you don't want to overpower. I mean, old fashions have some strong elements, but there's also subtle elements. You don't want to overpower that.
Okay.
So it is definitely more of a what's the word I'm looking for here? It is
Sophisticated?
It's a support element.
Sophisticated.
Sophisticated lady.
I just gotta say, Yvonne and I are the only things here
The
Whoa.
that
only
are
things,
sophisticated.
things here. The rest of us are people.
The only element,
Yes.
Dan.
The only elements.
Yeah. Elements to the
Are
podcast.
you in that movie, Elemental?
Elemental. I don't know if I've seen that. I've seen
The
the
Fifth Element.
Fifth Element.
Fifth Element was good.
No, the Elemental.
Who's Chris Rock's character in that? What's his name?
Weird high pitched voice, dude.
No, I was gonna say Ruby.
Next, not this Halloween because I've already got that costume set. Next Halloween, I'm going to be Chris Rock's character.
Ruby.
I'm
That's
doing
gonna
the
be
Bride
good.
of Frankenstein.
You're
you
doing
go.
Bride of Frankenstein?
Yep. Come on, I got
You're
that.
Are you
going as Kaz?
Kaz, are you going to do the whole Robert Downey Jr. thing?
No, I'm
What
trying
Robert
something
Downey
new
Jr.
this
thing?
year, and I'm excited to try it. I think it's going to turn out well because I've done the same thing the past 2 years. It needs a break.
What are you trying this year?
He may not want to tell us.
I mean, I don't want to spoil the surprise, and if I just say it, like, I'm not sure people will be able to picture it.
So we have to wait for a post.
Oh, there will definitely be a post.
Ah.
But I think the concept is good, and I think my execution is going to be chef's kiss.
Big Bird?
So, no
Snuffleupagus.
no costume of Big Bird.
Yeah, he's gonna
would
be the front, I'll
good.
be the back.
And the reason for that is because Big Bird himself is not good. I mean, of all the like Jim Henson Muppet characters that I'd be most inclined to strangle with my bare hands, it'd probably be Big Bird.
Interesting.
He's so whiny.
We definitely don't like whiny.
No.
Yeah, Dan,
So
Luke Skywalker.
I like this tobacco. I think it's in, like Kaz said, very unique. I don't know anything else that tastes like this.
Something's either
Right.
unique or it isn't. It's not
I mean-
very or a little. It's either unique or it's not.
Oh, it's unique.
All
Thank you, Dave.
It's unique.
It's unique.
It's unique.
It's unique for sure.
But I sense that it is unique, and by unique you mean
Sophisticated.
Have another drink, Dave. Dan.
Shit.
Now, Dave, I'm very interested in what you think because you promoted this by sending me an emoji of bacon.
You still
A
think
minute
it's
after
bacon?
I realized that when I said which of the BriarWorks tobaccos do we want to use?
Yeah, this
This
is all me. That's
Okay.
right. Yeah.
Go for it, brother.
This was your choice.
Bacon boy.
And
you
honestly, I
said,
think it was a
"I've
brilliant
Cup
never-
of
choice.
bacon.
And you said, I've never had a tobacco change so much.
That's true.
I'm halfway down the bowl, and it's amazing how it develops.
So it starts out like the trash compactor in Star Wars, and then it turns into this deep, salty, earthy,
Loamy.
loamy,
Loamy.
like
Don't
tobacco.
say blow me, Dave.
And it's like the finish is where I really get any bacon at all,
what
aside
she
from that. Yes. So oh boy. So no, it changes. It started out like I was just like, what the hell am I doing this for? And then but I smoked the whole bowl. I smoked the whole bowl.
Why am I like this?
You did it, bacon boy.
And I was really pleasantly surprised at the end. I was just like,
Pleasantly.
pleasantly surprised. I'm still pleasantly surprised. But I had to pick that one because, with no knowledge,
Of
you
the
know,
backstory and everything.
I wanted to know, everybody's reaction. And it's
So
just,
Dan called me earlier. He's like, "We're thinking about doing this blend for the podcast, because it was going to be a BriarWorks blend." He said, "What do you think about that?" And it took me 2 seconds, and I went, "Yes, like that is excellent because it's a blend. Like all the other blends in the BriarWorks catalog are great. Like there's not a bad one in the bunch.
Nope.
But this is probably the one that's most misunderstood."
well, this is the one where you get camps. They love it or they hate it.
100%.
100%. You love it
100%.
or you hate it. And the people that hate it, I would dare say it's misunderstood. Because that's honestly the camp I was in until I heard the backstory.
And you figure out
then
what it was
now
supposed
I
to
can
be.
respect what it was supposed to be. I'm like, okay, now if I had known that, my perception on the tobacco would have been completely and totally different.
It's kind of like if you're given, I don't know, I'm trying to liken it to some like food or a dish.
I can liken it to the first time I tasted beer.
Yeah, that's
You're
that's
just
a great
like,
example. Like,
Why
what-
am I drinking this?
But you don't have a concept like what it's supposed to be. So like this is gonna sound
But
pretentious.
I'm underage, so I will continue.
That's right.
This is going to sound pretentious as hell, and I don't mean it to, but it's the first thing that comes to mind so far. It's the only thing. Like, so, potato and leek soup. I forget.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
99% of the people have never had that.
They probably have just didn't know it. But potato and leek soup.
Yeah.
I forget the chef's name, but it was at the Ritz.
Definitely haven't had it.
He
Though.
made a novel decision. He tried it, played around with it. He made the novel decision to sell it to, it's upscale clientele, to serve the soup cold. And it took off, and that is what is known now as vichyssoise, like this cold soup.
Vichyssoise.
Vichyssoise.
Vicious law.
Vichyssoise.
But anyway, so like, if you don't understand this soup, like what it's supposed to be and everything for you, you're like, so I'm remembering the scene
I
from.
could see the Karens. This soup is cold.
Well, I'm remembering the scene. Like, no, seriously, I'm remembering the scene from the second Tim Burton Batman film, Batman Returns, and Bruce Wayne, Michael Keaton, sitting in the Batcave, and Alfred brings him dinner.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He's looking at the computer and he's trying to
He's
figure
like,
out Oswald
"It's
Cobblepot,
cold."
and he eats it and he like spits it out and drops the spoon. He goes, "Alfred, the soup is cold." He said, "It's vichyssoise. It's supposed to be cold." He goes, "Oh, okay." And then he starts eating it again. Like, once you understand what something is supposed to be, your opinion can take a 180. It's expectation can color, and once your expectations like change and are more accurate, then you're more of an accurate judge on something, whether it's good or not.
Right.
Yeah. So my original impression was, wow, this is really horrible. But at the end, it's really good. But now I like the whole journey. So, thank you, Kaz.
You're
Yeah, I
welcome,
didn't
babe.
know how to take it when I first started.
That's what she said.
Kind of like Kaz.
Oh my
You don't quite know what to do with it.
That's what she said.
I mean, that's how you know your tribe, though. Like, I don't think I'm unique in that way. Like, you find your tribe when they know what to do with you, and
Aw,
yeah,
you're welcome.
I know. No, seriously, not joke. Was that what I think it was? Was that what I think it was? Wow. Wow, that needs to now just be the intro theme. I mean,
Sausage rope.
yeah, just call this the. Never mind, I shouldn't.
Yeah.
This is probably a good time to end.
Yeah. You're probably
my
right.
gosh.
But you guys, like, I fell in love
I'm
with this place
blushing,
and you
right?
guys from
Yeah.
the first visit 2 years ago. So yeah,
Well, we're glad you keep coming back,
I don't.
especially
I'm a
after
glutton for
shows like
punishment.
this.
I'm
Yeah.
a glutton for punishment.
And Yvonne, we're glad you're with us tonight too.
Why, thank you.
It's great to see you. Thanks for coming back onto the show.
We don't deserve you, Yvonne.
Nope.
Will you come back and maybe do a Meat Lovers with us? Or
Yes.
Meat Lovers?
Yes.
Say-
Which one should
only
we?
for the December
Which one should we do?
12th or 13th. Same.
Oh, that's
The
that's,
beef stick.
That's hard. I love the beef,
Beef
stick.
stick.
I
beef
love the
stick.
beef stick. But
That's what she said.
I was
You're
so
going on the
set
soundboard
up.
with I
Oh
love
my God. I was so set up for that.
say you'll do it on December 11th.
I'll do
Well,
it on
that's a
December
Saturday.
11th.
No, it's not.
Oh, the 9th is the.
This Saturday.
December 11th.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
agree to it then.
December 11th. Beef stick.
There you go.
I love the beef stick.
That's when I'm
She
back in
said.
town for the
Oh
show.
my gosh. Well,
All right.
Okay.
All right, all right, all right.
and on that note, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Stay smoky, my friends.
And that's
All right.
not just blowing smoke.
Nice.
Bye.
Oh, which one? Yes, that one. That works.
I'll